800-980-5479.
For my Great American Act, which is responsible for the content of this message.
Remember we used to laugh derisively about censorship in China? The Great Firewall of China, we used to say. It's unbelievable how backward they are. It's like the Middle Ages over there. They take stuff off the internet if they don't like it, or if it violates their political imperatives. Well, on Sunday, Twitter, based in San Francisco, deleted a post by a physician, Dr. Scott Alice, he's a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, for saying that mask policies don't work. Now, there's data from the CDC to support Dr. Alice's claim, but our media were happy to see him censored anyway. Is there for censorship?
The man is Scott Atlas, and the influence of Atlas, who's not an expert in disease or pandemics, is described in the Washington Post as both corrosive and dangerous. The guy that's for herd immunity and lies so egregiously that Twitter took him down this morning for his lie about masks is gaining power and control at the very moment that the virus is, in the words of Dr. Osterholm, entering its darkest phase.
That was Nicole Wallace, a former flack for Jeb Bush, who ought to be ashamed. Nicole Wallace would defend any kind of totalitarian instinct as long as she benefits from it. She is, by the way, of course, a noted expert on disease and pandemics. Dr. Scott Atlas is a physician, never a flack for Jeb Bush. He's here to tell us what exactly happened. Doctor, thanks so much for coming on. So Twitter censored you for saying what? It would be interesting to hear directly from you. What did you say that they won't let you say?
Sure, thanks for having me. Well, there's many things I'm not. I'll start off, and one of them is I'm not a professional tweet writer, so it wasn't perfect, but what I was trying to point out was that mask mandates for the general population haven't worked in a variety of places, and it was just the evidence, which was Los Angeles County, Miami-Dade, Israel, Alabama, Hawaii, Spain, all kinds of places. And then I cited actually the same people, the same organizations that the other side wants to cite. The WHO, Oxford University Center for Evidence-Based Medicine, the CDC. These are all citations with actually literally quotes in them. And then I immediately retweeted clarifying my policy and the policy that I've advised the president. And actually, it's the president's policy, which is wear a mask when you cannot socially distance. And that was all part of the same tweet. I didn't put in a thread. I mean, it's just maybe my fault. But instead, I wake up the next morning to a bunch of emails from so-called journalists. I use the term loosely. And they were saying that my Twitter account was blocked. And so, I first tried to appeal it. And, of course, that freezes the account. And then I realized after 6 hours I'd better unappeal. And then I said, okay, delete it. And then I had a 12-hour blockage on my Twitter account. And I think that the point isn't the masks, as you know. The point really has nothing to do with that. The point is that we're living in a world where an opinion, even if it's based in fact, even if it's science, is snuffed out as if there's some kind of poison for even allowing it to be expressed. And when you cancel people out, when you cancel out facts, we're living in a world, we're really entering dangerous territory there, because the fundamental difference really between the United States and the USSR or North Korea or any of these other places is freedom. And once we don't allow facts to be out there, the country's finished if we go on that path. Right. Completely finished.
Right. It's a great country. It remains a great country. But the worst people in our history suddenly are in charge, as you're finding out. Dr. Atlas, thank you for your bravery. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
So the New York Times said today that it was surprised by new data showing that the coronavirus is not a big threat to school children. Dr. Mark Siegel was not surprised by that because he follows the data. He's a Fox News medical contributor, author of the new book, COVID, The Politics of Fear and the Power of Science. He's got more on this story. Dr. Siegel, good to see you.
Hi, Tucker. My 15-year-old went back to high school today, and he was smiling, and he was courageous, and he was so glad to see his friends. You know who was worried? Me. And I wasn't worried because of the facts. I was worried because of fears that had been superimposed on me. Fear of school. Fear he could get a COVID there. Fear of infection. Now, he went back to school, by the way, because there had been a couple of cases, but they deep cleaned the school, and there had been very, very isolated cases. And, the studies are really backing up how low the risk is. Brown University, late last month, revealed, looking at 550 schools, Tucker, that only 1 in 1,000 kids approximately, even less than that, get infected with COVID, with confirmed COVID-19, and teachers and staff, a little bit less than 2 in 1,000, very, very low. And New York City, by the way, where all of this great controversy has been going on, and all of this arguing, and what do we do? And teachers are saying, look, hybrid learning and online learning is very stressful and exhausting, and all of this battle. And now New York City has tested the kids and the staff, and you know what they found? 16,000 tests were done in the first week. You know how many were positive out of 16,000? 28. 20 staff and 8 students out of 16,000 tests. So I've got in my brain now that it's really quite safe. But you know what I'm really afraid of? I'm afraid of kids being out of school, not getting meals, not getting mental health care, not getting eye care, not getting dental care. I'm afraid of the parents having to be at home with them. I'm afraid of kids not being tested for developmental delay. All of this worries me greatly. So when I see my son going to school now, Tucker, I'm trying to say to myself, overcome those superimposed fears that other people are putting on you. Smile. But I'll tell you one final thing. I wrote a fear book, in this book that you just mentioned. And I'll tell you the problem. Fear permeates the brain much more than facts. We have to keep repeating the facts to ourselves before we believe them. We need to believe them for the sake of our children, Tucker.
Amen. Fear has huge costs and effects on the human body, as you pointed out on the show. Dr. Siegel, great to see you, and congrats on the book.
Thank you, Tucker.